Sugar maple trees, or Acer saccharum if you're the scientific type, grows throughout northeastern North America. During the late winter or early spring thaw, the excess sucrose, or sugar that's stored in the tree's roots for winter, starts to rise through the trunk as a sugary sap, and that's when folks, like my buddy Ed here, tap into those trees and start a process that was passed down to the early European settlers by the Native Americans.
So we're here with Ed DeWitt, and you are making maple syrup.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about the process and what goes into this.
So it's as simple as it can be, and also as complicated as it can be, I guess. It's really just a matter of reducing the sap that comes out of trees, reduce until it gets all the water evaporates out of it, and it's just syrup. I guess the sugar is left over.
And that was the thing that a lot of people wonder, is there's no additives in it.
No, they don't do anything. It's just boiled. It's just boiled sap. And it's funny because you grow up thinking what tree sap is. You touch something, you're sticky. It's a lot different than that. It's really just essentially water. It's like something like 98% water, 2% sugar. Because if you have takes anywhere between 50 and 35 gallons of this tree sap to make a gallon of syrup. And that's a good understanding to start with of why it's so expensive when you go to the store to see it, or when you see it on a farm or something like that. And that's before you take into account the fuel, the equipment you got to have. And this is one of those things that you could be as fancy or as rudimentary and basic as you want to be.
Native Americans and early settlers used hollow wooden sticks as spiles, which is the name for the taps that are placed in the trees, and then they used wooden troughs to collect the sap. That soon progressed to tin spiles and wooden keelers, as the buckets are called. Civil War brought sheet metal, which led to metal keelers, but all those had to be collected by hand, which is a tad labor-intensive, as you can imagine. As time progressed, syrup producers moved to plastic tubing and eventually added vacuum pumps, which brought the sap straight to collection stations or the evaporator house itself.
I'm way on the rudimentary side with the setup I have. We have a cinder block arch. By arch, that's what they call the stove, and it's essentially just cinder blocks stacked up. And I've got two restaurant trays that you would put, you'd see in like a kitchen lineup that I boil the sap in, and there's just firewood underneath of it, and it just boils and boils and boils. And as it boils down, it gets more and more mapley. And what we'll have to do is, at a certain point, I'll take it off of the fire and I just finish it in the kitchen in just like a stock pot. And you filter it some different times in between. If you ask 10 people, you get 10 answers, and it depends on elevation, but water boils at 212 degrees. Maple syrup is ready at 219 degrees. So when what we have reaches the boiling point of 219 degrees, it's essentially syrup, and you run it through the filter again and put it in the bottles. If you go too hot, it starts to crystallize, and the syrup is still very edible and it's still very good, but in the bottom of your jars, if you get too hot, rock candy forms. And again, I'm not a scientist by any means, but you try to get somewhere between too liquidy and solid crystals is the best way to describe that.
While Ed only taps about 8 trees and makes 1 or 2 gallons of syrup a year, larger commercial operations in the neighboring Somerset County, Pennsylvania, tap close to 20,000 trees and can make in the neighborhood of 400 to 500 gallons a day during the short season. But what is sugar season?
You want it to be below freezing at night, so think 20, 25 degrees overnight, and then high 30s, low 40s during the day, and that's when the sap really starts to run. And it's just all about the pressure of, it's like air pressure or something that causes the sap to run up and down the tree trunk, and then that's what will drip down into the bucket.
And this is something too where obviously they've been tapping maple trees, sugar maple, for many, many years. It's not harmful to the tree.
No, they say it's good for it, and actually whenever you pull the spile out within just a week or two, it fills itself back in, it heals.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
it's interesting, so that the trees I tap have been tapped for a long time, and so there are holes all through them, and all of them are sealed.
Do you like the process or do you like the finished product?
It's the process. It's like standing around the fire, different friends and family popping by like you. My uncle spent the whole day here with me, my mom and dad are here, and it's it's like 8 hours of quality time with them, and that's the best part for me. The end product's great. It is fun, and it's funny because it's one of those things that every year I'm like, do I really want to get into this? And then every year when I'm here, I'm really happy I'm doing it. So.
And then final question, how much better is this syrup than store-bought?
They grade syrup, and it's interesting because depending on, again, who you believe or who you hear or listen to, at the beginning of the season, the syrup is almost like golden yellow amber. Toward the end of the season, it's almost like a dark brown or getting close to black. And the way they say is the amber syrup's great for like pancakes and things, and then the darker syrup is what you want to use for like baking or cooking. But it's definitely a little bit different because, you know, I have this smoke and this ash just like conglomerating in there, and then we've got the campfire going over here that ash gets into it. So I'm sure it's not a USDA certified or anything, but it's really tasty. So.